We spoke with knew Anthony pretty well, that she says, and told us this.
I'm in shock because it's like I wouldn't expect that from him. I only know him fighting and stuff, like, but to take someone's life is just like a different level.
So listen, there's something very peculiar about the narrative surrounding the Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf situation, okay? Now, when this first situation came out, all types of info was circulating. And someone like me who stays on the computer very often, I was researching everything. I was looking for things, I was looking at rumors, everything that was going around. And one of the main things that popped up by seemingly reputable sources was that Karmelo Anthony had a history for bringing knives at school and he got suspended for doing that, okay? But now, apparently, that narrative has disappeared. If you go to the same posts that were posted around that time, I personally cannot find them. And then later on, the reputable source posts something else saying that they had to redact certain information just to get a better understanding from the school. It's very odd, bro. On top of that, there's also a video, very short video of this girl talking about Karmelo Anthony, just getting into fights, being a boy in high school. That also has been, I can't find it on Twitter right now. So I don't know if this is the mainstream media attempting to create their own narrative out of this situation. I don't know. You never really can tell, but the one thing I will say is there are some screenshots of the original posts, and we're about to go ahead and compare them. Now everybody wants to see what demographic they don't want to offend. Let's go ahead and check this out. Now, just a quick disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, we do live in the age of AI, deep faking, and just good old-fashioned Photoshop. But from everything I can tell, from all the engagement these posts are getting, this stuff is real. But just take it with a grain of salt that this could be manipulated somehow. But with that being said, these were the posts that I saw floating around. Now, keep in mind, these are pictures now because I can no longer find these. So someone definitely deleted them. So we're going to start with number one. It says, new information. New information about the investigation into the stabbing death of 17-year-old Frisco student athlete. CBS News Texas has learned from law enforcement sources involved in the investigation that 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, pictured on the left, we don't have the picture, the suspect in the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, had previously been suspended for bringing a knife to school. Now, this is why I think this post was changed, because there's one thing if you say, oh, classmates say that he usually brought knives to school and this and that, but we don't know, we're not sure. But they said specifically, okay, law enforcement sources. It says law enforcement sources tell us that 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony should have been in class at Centennial High School and was skipping school yesterday when he allegedly stabbed Austin Metcalf following an altercation. Now, again, this is all the news, They're claiming that this information came from law enforcement. So how is that information wrong then? Unless they're just like, oh, never mind, my bad. He actually didn't bring knives to school. So I don't know. That's just one discrepancy that I noticed because later on, they specifically come back to fix that. That's why it's highlighted. Somebody on the internet is doing their investigation work. Okay, now let's move forward. So we have not received a response from Frisco ISD to that information. Okay, now there was a few people in the comments. Well, I should say there's a lot of people. Some people say he was competing. Some people say he was just there as a viewer. Some people say he was skipping school to be there. All I know is that there's a lot of speculation as to what he should have been doing that day. And the news is not helping. Now we move forward, right? We get another post a little while later, and it's an update. Same account. It says, Dad speaks on son's death. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, pictured on the left, is the suspect in the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Anthony has been charged with stabbing Metcalf at a track meet Wednesday morning after an altercation. Our whole CBS News Texas is working tirelessly to get the answers from both sides, and I've been knocking on doors all day to get information on what led to the violence. Now listen, it's one thing that you just get information wrong and you have to come out and correct that. But that whole idea that he had had knife issues before was circulating for a while. You suddenly come up here and change the whole narrative out of nowhere? But we haven't even gotten there, so let's continue. What we know so far. It says Frisco ISD says Karmelo Anthony was at the track meet as an athlete and participant. So number one, they're already trying to fix the mistake from the beginning. And I think they're always trying to do this so that they can cater to a certain demographic. If their demographic starts getting a little too angry, they're going to start switching and moving and changing. Okay, let's move on though. Anthony remains in the Frisco City Jail facing a first-degree murder charge with a $1 million bond. Today we spoke with Austin Metcalf's father, who says online postings about what caused the altercations are erroneous. He says it started with his twin son when he questioned Anthony about why he was standing over by their school's track team instead of his own. Austin's father says he can forgive what happened to his son, but believes the teenager accused deserves the death penalty if convicted. And then this is the biggest thing right here. It says, note, we have asked investigators and the district how the altercation started. We have not gotten any answers. We also have redacted some previously reported information in order to get further clarification from the school district. Now you might be thinking, what's that information that they altered? That's the same information where they said Karmelo Anthony had an issue with the knife at school in the past. So there's either one or two things that's happening, folks. They were trying to get some rage bait out of people and got the response that they didn't like, or they just reported without having the full facts. But I think it's the first one. Because, you know, these big news companies, these big cable companies, they're all about sensationalizing shit. Now, granted, we all sensationalize things if it's sensational, but they go above and beyond. They take it to the next level. They said we have also redacted some previously reported information in order to get further clarification from the school district. That other post disappeared into thin air. This is some of the problems as to why I feel like somebody might get this piece of information. Say they follow Amelia all the time, they get that piece of information and then they run with it. And they sound like doofuses for the rest of the time on the internet. This is why it's important, folks. Pay attention to who's uploading things. It says, I have personally asked the school district if there was any security in place at the event, and the district declined to answer. So from reading all of this, I think I've gathered two things. One, you only can get your information from the sources that are most reputable, and I think that's just the police. That's it, the police report and witnesses. And that's going to come out more and more as the trial gets closer. You know, there's phone calls when Karmelo went behind bars. There's a whole shit ton of witnesses, and there's police reports, and there's police reenactments that's going to help us digest the entire scene, because things like this, people are reporting bullshit. Now, did he have a knife situation at school? I don't even know at this point. You guys tell me what you think. I don't even know, to be honest. Now, I went to a school website, but obviously they're not going to give any information like that out. So that also is something we're just going to have to find out in the future. But this is one tangible, real thing that we can get. We have an interview with this young lady that she said she knew Karmelo Anthony, right? And she gave her opinion. Again, she's a kid. You know, I don't know. Everything she says you have to take with a grain of salt, because obviously she's in front of the news cameras. She's in shock. She's just saying stuff. But these are the closest things to the truth, in my opinion. The witnesses, the police. When you go to these little Twitter feeds, you always have to take these things with a grain of salt, because they are changing the narrative daily. But let's go ahead. Let's check out this little video real quick, talking about this girl who knew Karmelo Anthony.
One girl that we spoke with knew Anthony pretty well, that she says, and told us this.
I'm in shock because it's like, I wouldn't expect that from him. I only know him fighting and stuff, like, you know, but to take someone's life is just like a different level.
Yes, sweetie, it is a different level. So, you know, you have to take that with a grain of salt. I mean, shit, who hasn't gotten into a fight? So maybe that'll actually help him out. saying like, oh yeah, see, he would stand up and fight and he was trying to save his own life. That's the only reason he didn't fight, because he usually fights. I don't know how defense is going to take it, but I will say there's a lot of things that just seem to be disappearing lately. And it's kind of odd. It's kind of odd because this video took me forever to find. It almost seems like this video is kind of on the wraps also. But anyways, folks, you guys let me know what you think. Do you think these are just rage bait accounts that are going up trying to just get people angry? Do you think there's true news behind it? We'll have to find out, to be honest. As more information comes out, the more we'll be able to validate some of these claims. But at this point, the fact that you have news stations going back and deleting things, I just find that suspicious. But anyways, I'll see you guys real soon. Stay inside, stay safe. I love you guys. Teach your kids good morals, man. I'll see you soon. Peace.